Looks like I am live again. Indeed, the day Commit Don't Quit live stream. Jeff here, Tube Tuesday, episode 4, part 2. Literally about 15-20 minutes ago, I ended the first part. Usually I have been going, I always go live Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. from 2 to 3 or 2 to 3:30. And then I pick up my son after 3:30 and get home about 10 to 4, and then the last week or two I've been coming on at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, the reason for the part 2 is just literally it's an extension to the first part of the stream. I have to end to pick my son up, and then at 4 o'clock, half an hour later, literally there's a group of people that we don't see at 2 o'clock just because it's not a good time. But there are some people, 4 o'clock's a better time. Usually come on for half an hour to 40 minutes. So I've been doing a stream. It just helps, it helps the channel and that. So we've been doing a second stream for usually about half an hour. It's not a long time, 30 or 40 minutes. And literally by the time I get started, it seems to be the stream's done. So like I said, there's not usually a lot of people on. But it is a good time because you get to see some people you don't see all the time. So that's the reason for the second stream. So if people do come on and wonder why are you doing a second one, it's just you see people you don't see all the time. So that's the reason for the 4 o'clock stream. But Florida Greg, hey, how are you? Welcome. I love seeing that sun and the palm trees and the shade and that. I love it. As you can see, we're still in my kitchen. We always were. But before, for about a week, we had the different backdrop. We had London, England, and Bora Bora. We'll go back to it probably later next week. But we've just added, with the OBS, the program that we use to run the streams, we added like different backdrops. Yesterday we had like, we were at the beach. We're under like a boardwalk at a beach. We had some fun with it. Today we're in the mountains on like a lake or a stream in the mountains. We have different views that we can try, but it just kind of liven things up. And for the time, we'll use the kitchen right now because until I can get that removed, we'll keep that. But as you can see, look, I'm literally going in to the water here. But I come out with a dry hand. Can you imagine? Anyways, yeah, I'd never be a comedian, would I? Florida Greg says, wonderful here. How are you doing up there in Ontario? Pretty good. Good. Can't complain. Today we woke up. Another storm hit again, and the kids, the school buses and the schools were all closed. So they stayed home, and my wife, about 45 minutes before she was heading to work, she got a text message from one of the girls she works with, said, don't bother coming in today. They haven't canceled work, but you can work from home. So my wife's like, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. So they have computers they can log into work like through a VPN, and it just dials in, and they can do all their work from home. So she's done in a few minutes. She usually works from 9 to 5, but I think she missed her breaks and lunches and that, so she can be done at 4 o'clock. I mean, literally she's at home so she can do what she's doing. So it was kind of nice she was able to be done an hour earlier today, or 45 minutes early. So that's kind of nice. It's nice to have her home and that. And literally our son, he's upstairs, literally been playing Xbox all day. Anthony Fletcher, there's our son's friend. Anthony, how you doing? It's good to see you. Our son Ethan, he's been playing Xbox, Fortnite I guess it is, probably with all his friends. He puts a headset on and they talk back and forth and play games all day. But literally we saw him, I think, for either breakfast and for lunch. He came down, grabbed something to eat, and then upstairs he went. He doesn't care. You're a kid. You don't care about mom and dad anymore. You just want to play with your friends or play video games. So that's what he's doing, and that he's busy with that. And I thought I'd come down here. Now, Florida Greg, Willie Parker was on the earlier stream, and he was talking about baseball and that. He was talking about how he thinks the Jays are going to get some new players and stuff. Do you follow baseball much? I don't follow baseball a ton, Florida Greg, but I know the baseball is real popular down there, coming about, is it the end of February, beginning of March, usually spring training? Is that usually when spring training starts? I know that it starts in either end of February, beginning of March, and then 4 or 6 weeks later they start back up in the regular season back in April and stuff. But yeah, like I said, I used to watch a lot of baseball, and I always followed the Toronto Blue Jays and the Detroit Tigers. But the last few years, I haven't seen as much sports as I'd like to. So, but yeah, no, I just wonder. But how's the weather? It's wonderful here. Yes, you said it's wonderful. That's right. I bet it's beautiful right now. I'd trade you in a second, Florida Greg, for a little bit of sunshine. It's so gray and overcast here. Literally, we woke up. We knew it was coming. Only they said there was a storm coming in Tuesday morning, and I think it's going to be gone by. I think it'll be gone by tomorrow. It's not a big one, but it was just enough to have like freezing rain and ice pellets and stuff. Just enough to make it kind of miserable for everybody in the drive. Florida Greg says, "Yep, I got to watch the Jays practice in Dunedin." That's right. Jays are in Dunedin. Are Tigers in Lakeside? Is that where Tigers play? And I think Clearwater is Clearwater where the I don't know where I know where Clearwater is. We went to Clearwater when we stayed in St. Pete's Beach and then went up to Clearwater, which was I think 45 minutes, an hour away. But Clearwater, is that where the Yankees play, or do they play somewhere else? I know somebody plays in Clearwater, but in Clearwater when we went to this place. Was it Clearwater Aquarium or something? It's just when you drive in, just in that bay or whatever, not lagoon, but in they have an aquarium. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but when we went, that's where they filmed the 2 movies for Dolphin's Tale. But we loved it. The kids absolutely had the best time ever. Oh, the Phillies. Okay, yes, Tigers in Lakeland. Okay, yes, because a few years ago my mom went. She went with a bunch of women. They're retired, and they stayed for a month. I think the people go down to Florida and stay for a while. But anyway, she went down for a month. They had a blast. My mom was never a ball fan ever. She never watched any sports. When she came back, she loved the Jays, Smoke, and all those different players. But she loved watching baseball because they went to see a Tigers and Jays game in Lakeland. But that makes sense now. But she had a blast. And when the Jays play, she watches every game. You can't call her when the Jays are on. And it's funny, she didn't know a thing, but now she knows everything. She knows all the players, when they're playing, where they're from, who their kids are, and blah, blah, blah. But it's funny. Phillies are in Clearwater. Okay. Anthony Fletcher, I said it was going to be a snow day. Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, I think Anthony was super excited that it was a snow day today. He couldn't wait till... He couldn't wait when he got up. He came running in the room. He says... "What's going on, Dad? Why am I?" And I said, "It's a snow day. You don't have to get up." He goes, "Ah!" And then next thing, you heard the door slam. You heard the video game start up again. Florida Greg says, "Yankees in Tampa." Ah, they're in Tampa now. Florida Greg, that's when we went to Disney back years ago. I think it was about 5 years ago or so. Flew into Tampa. Then we drove. We stayed in St. Pete's Beach. We stayed a bit. We didn't stay. We just went a couple days to Clearwater, and then we went back not to Orlando, but we stayed just outside of Orlando. I can't remember what it was called. It was about 15-20 minutes outside of Orlando, but we stayed there and then went to Disney, and we had a blast. It was a great time. The kids absolutely loved it. Some of the nicest weather we've seen in years. But the Pirates are in Bradenton. Now that, you know what, my dad would have loved that. My dad always had a Pittsburgh Pirates cat. Do you remember the old Pittsburgh Pirates in the 70s and 80s when Pittsburgh Pirates was the yellow and the black, or the black and yellow? And do you remember that? My dad, I remember in the 1970s, I was just a kid, he cut the grass, and my dad smoked a cigar when I was a kid. He quit smoking years later, but he'd smoke a cigar and he'd have his hat on. And my dad didn't wear a hat, but when he cut the grass and did things when he was out, go fishing and that, he'd always wear his Pirates cap and stuff. But it was I always remember that. Yes, Anthony, I remember you saying that. And Anthony says, "I'm going to go to Florida Monday." That's amazing, Anthony. I hope you have a good time. And Florida Greg says, "Anthony, whereabouts?" I'm not sure where he's going, Florida Greg, but I hope that he'll have a great time, I'm sure. I think he said they were going for 9 days or something, so I'm sure his family and him will have a good time. We're going to Orlando and Universal. Oh my gosh, you'll have a great time. So one thing, we didn't get to Universal. We went to, the different places. Went to the main Disney, and we went to Hollywood Studios, and I forget where else. Gosh. There's so many different places. I can't think of the one. Not Epcot, but Animal Kingdom, and I can't think exactly where. I'm sorry. Apologize right now. Night Shame, hey, Night Shame, how are you? It's good to see you. As you can see, I don't usually stream at this time, Night Shame, but I'm good. +1 like. Thanks very much, appreciate it. If you come to the Clearwater area, look me up. Okay, but Night Shame, yes, I don't usually go streaming at this time, but I found after Christmas, our views for the channel were such and such. But then after, when New Year's started, things, I don't want to say dropped, but they did. And I noticed for a couple of weeks the downward spiral, and I thought, how do I you can't change things. I mean, people are going to watch you, or they're not going to, and that's it. So what I started doing was I started acting second lives, just at 4 o'clock, usually for 30 or 40 minutes, and it helped out. So that's why, and I also get to see people like Florida Greg and different people that come on, that 4 o'clock is a better time, because 2's just not the best time for them. So it's nice to have everybody here, it really is. Florida Greg says, do I follow baseball? Yeah, I guess you follow baseball, yeah. It's funny, when we flew into Tampa, I remember all the, I imagine they were all Canadians going down, but they all had their ball stuff on, and you know, some of the young girls had their stuff on for the Jays, some of them had them on for different places, wherever they were going. But it's funny, on the highway, every like location you're going by, there's signs for whatever ball. I imagine it's a great thing, because it probably brings in tourists quite a bit. But yeah, I think Clearwater, like you said, where do you say, what was in Clearwater again? Phillies, okay. Like I said, I can't remember exactly. I just remember seeing the signs and stuff for things. And then off the highway, I think remember Yankees, but that must have been going through Tampa. I didn't realize that. But yeah, I remember all those signs, and it must be a huge thing down there. It really must be. Oh, gosh. There we are. So how's everybody else's day doing? Everybody having a good one today? Anything exciting going on for anybody today? We're, like I said, my wife has been working from home, so that's kind of nice. I've got to see her a tiny bit, but she's upstairs in one of the spare bedrooms. She got things hooked up. She's got her computer screens and her laptops, everything set up so she can work from home. But she doesn't get to do that very often. Usually when the weather's bad, they usually just keep them home. And also, you know, if the nice thing is, if one of the kids was sick, she could stay home and watch them, and just keep them home as well, work from home. But Greg says, check out the little video that I did last year at the Jays practice facility. Okay, you know, it's been years. I don't know when the last time I saw a Bell game went out. It's been many years. The Jays, when they used to play, I don't know if you know Florida, Greg. Do you know? I don't know if you're from the States or from Canada or where, but years ago, when I was a kid, the Jays didn't play where they play now. They used to play in a place in Toronto called the CNE. CNE is called the Canadian National Exhibition. That's where they had this thing at the end of summer every year in August. They had like amusement rides and stuff at the exhibition. They have different things going on, events there year round. But anyways, they had the exhibition stadium, they called it, and they used to have stadium was the event for baseball and football. So Canadian baseball and football. So the Toronto Blue Jays played there, and on the odd days it was Toronto Argonauts, which was for the CFL, which is Canadian football. I like to say the CFL. It's not even college players from the States. Some of them were, but I imagine that a lot of college players and stuff came up. It's all Americans that play in the CFL anyways. But anyways, the Toronto Argonauts and the Toronto Blue Jays played there for years. And then I think it was about the mid-90s or so, or early 90s, they closed up, or the end of the 80s, I forget what it was. They closed up, and they started, they used the exhibition stadium that closed down, and they started playing in a place called the Sky Dome, just right next to the CN Tower, downtown Toronto. And the Argos played in a different location, but Toronto Jays played there. And then a few years ago, they changed it from the Sky Dome. They changed it over to a company that bought them out called Rogers, and they called it Rogers Center. I think that's what it's. But that's where the Toronto Blue Jays still play. Let's see here. Anthony Fletcher's last time we went to Florida, we went to Clearwater Aquarium. That's it, Anthony. That's where we went. Clearwater Aquarium. And Clearwater Aquarium is where we took the kids. They had a blast. That's where they filmed Dolphin Tale. I think that was a Harry Connick Jr. movie, and I think Morgan Freeman might have been in that movie. But yeah, they filmed that movie, the Dolphins there, and we had a blast. That we had a great time. The kids had the blast. Night Shame says, "I'm just having breakfast." Well, that's awesome. I hope your day's going well, Night Shame. I hope your day's going well. It's quiet around here. We've had a snow day here. It's really cold, rained, and it closed down the buses and the schools for the kids. So the kids stayed at home, and my wife, they actually told her she could work from home. So I think she's pretty much done now. She usually works from 8 to 5, and it's about 4:15. So I think she just finished working from home. She could use her breaks and lunches and be done early. So anyways, I think she's done early. Florida Greg says, right on the lakefront. Yes, right. Oh, Florida Greg, you don't have to tell me. Are you Canadian? I'm just curious. It says Florida Greg's, but I'm just wondering if you know a lot, or you maybe just know about Canada. Right along the QEW, if I remember. Yes, exactly. Right along the QEW. Tiger Muskeum. Hey guys, hey, how are you? Nice to have you here. Thank you very much. Yes, the CNE is just pretty much off the lake shore, or off QEW and stuff. And yeah, and if you know, literally everything's down in that area now. Florida Greg, they have the CNE just as you're coming into Toronto, where things change up, and right on off the highway they have a stadium called BMO Field. Bank of Montreal, they do that's where they have the soccer, and I don't know if the football is there, but the soccer and the football, and then literally right off the highway, as you're saying, off the QW, they literally have what do you call it? That's where the Sky Dome is, or the Rogers Center now they call it, but the Sky Dome and the CN Tower, and then just literally almost right across the street, just a block or two down the street, is where they have. I think they call it the Air Canada Centre, where the Toronto Maple Leafs played, and the Toronto Raptors. But now I think that has switched to Air Canada, not taken over, but Bank of Nova Scotia, Scotiabank took them over. So now they think this year they changed it from Air Canada Centre, they call it Scotiabank Centre, and that's where the Toronto Maple Leafs and Toronto Raptors play basketball and hockey there. And Florida Greg, I lived here 25 years, but originally... Oh, no, you're not from here. I lived here for 25 years, but originally from Buffalo, New York. Okay, so you're quite familiar then, Florida Greg, because that was... God, that's like 45 minutes, not even an hour. Or is that... No, that's about... How far is that? Is that an hour and a half from Buffalo? Because, you know what, we're not that far from Fort Erie and stuff. We're about an hour and a half from Niagara Falls, so... My gosh, that's not far at all. So, Florida Greg, you must have been witness to the Buffalo Sabres years ago at one point, but Florida Greg says, I've been in Toronto many times, but 25 years ago. Well, you know what? Things have changed drastically in 25 years. Literally, like I said, they built the hockey arena. The Toronto Maple Leafs used to play at a place downtown called Maple Leaf Gardens for years, but they switched it, and then they built the center. Not that many years ago for the hockey and that to switch up and that. But yes, they switched that up quite a few years ago now. But yeah, Toronto's changed drastically. Even the last 10 years, I said to my wife, we haven't been to Toronto like a lot in the last 10 years. We've been a few times. But the one time we went to a play or a show, went to see Queen We Will Rock You was one of the shows that they were doing back about 10, 11 years ago. And we had a great time, and we went a few years ago. We went to Ripley's. It has Ripley's Aquarium. They have like a huge water aquarium in that, and it's humongous. It's right down by the CN, by the CN Tower, I mean. And so many things have changed. A lot of things have been updated. And all the condos as you're driving in, like you said, on the QEW into Toronto, it almost looks like Tokyo if you drove into Toronto. Literally, you used to be a lot more open coming into Toronto, but now everything is just high-rise condos, and it looks like condos on top of each other. It literally looks like if you were in Tokyo. It's not crazy thing. It's just it doesn't look like Toronto used to as you drive in. Florida Greg says, I was there to see the Beatles. Oh my gosh, in 1965 they were at Maple Leaf Gardens. Yes, the Maple Leaf Gardens. You know what? I used to go to Maple Leaf Gardens all the time when we were younger. We lived in Toronto, and the fellow that lived right behind us, his daughter, Tina, I grew up with her, and we went to school all the way through, but he was a linesman in the NHL. A guy named John D'Amico, and John D'Amico, he was buddies with my dad, and we used to see my dad just literally over the fence all the time, and he'd always talk to my dad while they were gardening and stuff. And he'd always throw my dad tickets, and he'd say, hey, if you want to come down to see the game tonight, he'd say, bring your son, and then I'll see you there. And then we'd see John and stuff down at the games and stuff before the game, and he'd have us sitting right there. But yeah, we had a great time. We used to go down to see the Leafs all the time, go to practices, games, and And even if he wasn't playing, he'd say, "Hey, here's some tickets and that. Take your son and stuff." And he says a couple times, I think we took his daughter and that because his daughter wanted to go, and he usually took his daughter down when we were down there. But one time he said, "If you can take my daughter with you," so my dad took us down. I think there was myself and her and my dad and that. But I think he was out of town and that. But you're a great fellow in that. We had a great time back then. And back then they used to have wrestling back in the day. That's they used to call it Maple Leaf Wrestling on Saturdays or Sunday afternoons. That was back when Angelo Moscow and Ric Flair, when he was first like in the 1970s and stuff. Florida Greg used to try and watch our TV, channel 5, 9, 11 out of Hamilton. Oh my gosh, channel 11, CHCH out of out of Hamilton before we got cable TV. I remember that. And channel 5 might have been the CBC, and 9 might have been CTV. That's so funny, Florida Greg. So funny, I totally forgot about those channels. But yes, those definitely were the Canadian ones for sure. Flying Monkey, hi everybody, Flying Monkey in the house. Hey, Flying Monkey, how you doing? It's good to see you. Salvatore Vincenzagero. Salvatore, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for coming. Hockey's great, still a fan. Oh, so am I. I don't watch it, Florida Greg, as much as I like. I used to watch it. I find now, I told my wife, we usually watch it when the playoffs are on. Usually about, when March hits, when they're just getting ready to get set for the playoffs a couple weeks before the playoffs start, and usually about April, right? Usually the last 2 or 3 weeks before the playoffs, we get into it. We start watching the Leafs again and get all excited. And the next thing you know, we follow them for the next 2.5 months, and that's all we have on. It seems like I said to my wife, I've been on YouTube the last few months, but and at night. But when the hockey starts, I probably won't be on here at night ever again. Not until the hockey's done. But Flying Monkey says, hi, it's good to have you here. Thanks very much. And Anthony Fletcher says, hi to everybody. And Anthony Fletcher says, yo, Anthony Fletcher's my son Ethan's friend from school, so it's good to have you here. But I imagine, Anthony, you must be getting excited. In a few days, you'll be heading down to Florida with your family, so that's awesome. Florida Greg says, hockey and baseball are on my TV if there's a game. Yes, I like it. And, especially at night, I find usually when you settle in with the kids and stuff, I end up watching a lot of that kind of stuff at night. Flying Monkey said, I'm a soccer fan myself, but in England, if we don't call it soccer, we call it the football, the proper name. Oh, yes, I know. Now, Flying Monkey, my son, he loves soccer, or I know you call it football, they just call it soccer here. But anyways, he likes, what's his name? He likes Messi, and what's the other one? Ronaldo, the Juventus, I guess it would have been. Was it Real Madrid and whoever the other teams were? Unfortunately, I don't know enough about it. My son now, he's 11. He could talk to you all day about it. But I know I think he's 11, so he doesn't understand the whole concept of what's going on in some of the games, unfortunately. But he likes, he's a kid, but he liked Ronaldo and Messi. I mean, I know there's a lot more players than them, I realize. But unfortunately, I only know him because he follows it. And, there's a lot of other teams. I know there's a ton of other teams and a lot of different players. But those are the only two players, unfortunately, I know in the game. Pele when I was a kid and stuff like that, and Maradona and all those ones. But beyond that, and what's his name, David Beckham and stuff. But I don't know soccer or football, unfortunately, my friend. But it's a huge game. I'd say it's a worldwide game. It's way bigger than all our other sports that we watch. I mean, we're talking about baseball and hockey, and those are big sports here in North America. But I imagine worldwide, they're not like they were the other sports. Soccer is such a huge sport, like worldwide and stuff. Especially, but I do like the World Cup. I like to watch the World Cup, but you only get that every few years, unfortunately. But let's see where we are here. Here we are. Oh gosh. So how's everybody else's day doing? Everybody had a good day so far. Anthony, did you stay in and play video games all day like our son did? I imagine you probably, he didn't even leave the house. He didn't even get outside. We should have had him out shoveling today, but he did not get out of the house today. He's upstairs in his room playing video games still. And you might be playing with him, Anthony. I don't know. Anthony Fletcher says, my cousins are going to watch Canada versus USA hockey today. Now, Anthony, that's not in London, is it? Where's the game? It's not here, is it, Anthony? I know sometimes they do have the the different World Games and stuff, or the different. Where's that game, Anthony? Flying Monkey says England came so close to winning the World Cup. We got the semi-finals and lost again. No, you know what? You're right on that. Now, like I said, I'm not going to try to go. Oh yes. I know. Unfortunately, I don't. But they do have a good. They have a good team. They definitely do. Now, the only thing I know about my knowledge for when I was about a teenager back in the 80s, Flying Monkey, and the only thing I remember, they used to have our sporting teams or sports channels here. They didn't broadcast the games like they would over there, so they had it once a week over here when I was a kid. And over here they used to call it on Saturdays. What they did is I think they played probably the week's games. So what they did is they had a special on Saturday mornings here. Maybe it was the live games over in England, I don't know. But they called it on Saturday mornings. They had this fella named Graham Leggett, and he was a sports announcer. He maybe been a big sports fella years ago. But Graham Leggett did this Saturday morning show called Soccer Saturday, and we used to watch it. And I remember in the day, that's when, I know Manchester United, that's about my extent of soccer knowledge or football knowledge, was Manchester United. They were a huge team. I think they probably still are a big team, but that's about the only thing I know about football, my friend. So I apologize that I'm not up on. I apologize. I just don't know enough about it. I love the glasses, Salvatore. I love it. I wish I knew how to use the emojis. It's funny, people say put the emojis in, and it takes me about 3/4 of the time to try to figure out how to get to the emojis. And my wife, she'll use her phone and pop in the emojis, but I guess I'm an old fella. I can't even figure out how to use those, unfortunately. Oh, Anthony, that's good. No, you went outside for an hour. Good for you. We should have kicked our son's butt outside for at least an hour. He should be out doing something, not upstairs in his bedroom playing video games all this time. But a snow day, that happens, unfortunately. And Flying Monkey says, my day's been good, thank you. And what about yourself? Pretty good. You know what? It was real good. For a couple hours ago, I came on for about an hour and a half or so. And we're talking to a lot of people. And then I said, I close it down for a bit, and then I come on at 4 o'clock. And I've been doing the 4 o'clock for about 30 or 40 minutes each day. The reason for that is there's a lot of people that don't come on at the regular time, the 2 o'clock, is because it's not a good time. They're either at work or they're busy and stuff. So I've been doing like a 30 or 40 minute show at 4, just because you get to see some people you don't get to see. Anthony Fletcher at Budweiser. Okay, so it is here in London. Okay, that's awesome, Anthony. I hope they have a good time. Flying Monkey says, I'm planning on making a little caravan so I can tow it along with my bike to go around the UK on a little tour. Well, that'll be amazing. Well, you know what? Are you going to do it this spring or summer, Flying Monkey? Flying Monkey says, I hope Canada win in the hockey. Oh gosh, Flying Monkey. Well, you know what? There's some good teams and good players, but I guess it's a sporting event. Florida Greg says, Flying Monkey, I hope they do too. And then the Tampa Bay Lightning can draft all the good players. Oh gosh, Florida Greg, somebody was saying in the last chat that they think Stevie Yzerman's going back to Detroit next year. I don't know, but I heard. God, the good one. Hey mate, how are you? Good. How you doing? God, the good one. You know what? I've been doing a second live every day now. God, the good one. I usually go at 2. I know it's a different time for you. It's probably about 8 or 9 there, 9 o'clock or so, 9:30 almost. But I usually go on about 2 o'clock our time. It's a good time over here, but it's not good time for everybody. So what I've been doing after I end the live, I ended at 3:30. Then about half an hour, I go pick our son up from school. Once I get home, I should come on for about 30 or 40 minutes, because I get to see people that don't come on at the other time, because it's not a good time. So it's good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. We had a snow day for the kids here, God, the good one. They had like a snowstorm, ice, freezing rain here. So they closed all the schools and all the buses, and even my wife was able to work from home today. She's dialing in from work upstairs on our computers, and I think she's done fairly shortly. But yeah, it was nice to have her home. I don't get to see her very often during the day, but it's nice to have her home. But I think the weather's back to changing tomorrow. Country Cycle Cam, hey, you see I'm back, right? I came on for a tiny bit, Country Cycle Cam. I just come on for a tiny bit. I usually probably go on for another 10-15 minutes, Country Cycle Cam, then I close it down. But yeah, I think I've already told you. I just come on for a little bit at 4 o'clock, just so you see different people you don't get to see. Florida Greg says this is the last year here in Tampa, so he's probably back to Detroit to be general manager. Yeah, I was shocked, you know what? But he's done quite well for himself, Florida Greg. He really has. But I always said to everybody, you know what? One of the nicest guys you ever meet in hockey, and one of the nicest guys to ever play hockey in the game. So, you know what? They're all lucky. Whoever, Tampa, Detroit, whoever has him is lucky to have him because he's certainly a great guy. But you know what? I love the game. I do. And Flying Monkey says, "Hi, God, the good one. How are you? Good, good, good. It's great to see everybody. I really appreciate you coming. Hi, Flying Monkey. Florida, God, the good one says, God, Florida Greg says, hopefully they'll win the cup for him this year. You know what? It would be nice, wouldn't it? God, the good one says, I just play football and I'm dead on my feet. Oh my gosh. You know what? God, the good one, I got to get me out and get me some exercise. Up until about when I started this about 6 months ago. And you know what? Up until then, I always exercised. I always get out and walk 4 or 5 kilometers a day. You keep me in shape and that. But then I started this and I got busy and got myself out of shape. I haven't been last 6 months or so. My wife's always saying you need to get your butt out and get doing something again. So the next couple weeks, you know, the weather's going to get better here and it won't be as cold. So I'm going to try to get out, get me doing some. I used to play hockey, but the football would be great. God, the good one. I imagine you get a good exercise, good workout. I need to get me working out because I find I'm feeling sluggish right now. Flying Monkey says, God, the good one. Get yourself a good, nice cold beer and relax. Oh, that sounds good right now. Unfortunately, I'm on that Monday to Friday. But Friday evenings I'll have one. Salvatore, I love those emojis, my friend. I love those emojis. Country Cycle Cam, get a bike, Jeff. You know what? I would, but you know how when you're running down the road and somebody runs into you or it gets too close to you, Country Cycle Cam here, I wouldn't dare get a bike. I'd only get a one that's lifted up to ride here, Country Cycle Cam. The people here are absolutely nuts when they get out on the road. They'd run you over in 2 seconds. It's quite dangerous in the city here. I wouldn't take my chances. It's not a good day sometimes going out and walking or getting in your car around here, but I'd be too afraid to ride the bike here, my friend. Maybe a bike for the trails and that, but beyond that, I wouldn't dare go out. The people are crazy. They run the lights. They're not looking for you, that's for sure, on the road, but a bike would be good here, my friend. It would. I'm a little too iffy on it in case I got hit. That's all. Flying Monkey says, I want some snow in England. Well, you know what? We could send you tons of it, my friend. I'd send it all to you if I could. I'd send it in the mail. It's funny, you know what? We haven't had that bad of a winter till about 3 or 4 weeks ago here. To be honest, we had no winter until about 3 or 4 weeks ago. The weather was warm. It was in the high teens here and stuff in Celsius, or like the high 40s and 50s in the Fahrenheit. So it wasn't really not a bad winter. There was really no snow. It was non-existent. It came down a couple times, not even a centimeter or so. But then a month ago we started getting dumped on and the snow started hitting and it started accumulating. But now and then the weather, the temperature dropped. We almost went down to -40 here about a week or two ago, and it's been crazy, but I'll be glad to see it over with. God, the good one says, just sit down with a giant gin. Oh my gosh, does that ever sound good? Oh my gosh, I could go for one of those right now. I could go for that or a whiskey or something. Oh. Salvatore says, I've known a couple of people who gotten hit on bikes. Be careful. Yeah, no, Salvatore, you know what? I used to cycle quite a bit, but the city we live in, it's not a big city, but there's about just under 500,000 people. There's about 400 and some thousand people here. And I moved here back in 1996, so what's that, 23 years ago now? Back then, I had a bike and I'd drive around the city. It didn't bother me. I knew I wasn't going to get hit. But if you saw the crazies that are here now, you wouldn't dare go out, or pretty much you see it all the time, unfortunately. You see, you know, trucks and stuff hitting people, but Country Cycle Camp says, technically I have been hit. I have been hit while on my bike. It was a mere strike, but still contact was made. Yikes. Yeah. No, you know what? There's places, even probably some of the places I think to be safe might not be as much, but here, Country Cycle Cam, they're absolutely. It's not that people are good or bad. I don't mean it that way, but you know, they're in such a rush coming home from work or going to work or wherever. They're not paying any attention, and I don't want to take my chances, but that's the only reason. Otherwise, I get one. I'd like to almost get a mountain bike or something to go out in the fields or in the trails and stuff. We do have a lot of that in the middle of the city. You could almost drive through the city on the trails. There's a lot of places to walk, so there's a lot of places to ride. That would be safe for sure. But I'd like to get something like that. I used to have, like, you know, one of the touring bikes years and years ago. But I think one of those would be it'd be pretty nice to go through some of the trails and stuff. Salvatore says, "Wow, yeah, no, you know what? People have got so much on their minds. I think nowadays, a lot of stress from work and just everyday life and stuff. Things have changed. I think I said to my wife, things are. I said I know I'm getting old because I started talking like things aren't what they used to be, but I find they're not. But you know, probably that's the way my parents thought and everything like that. But I even said to my wife's been here 12 or 13 years now. I said to her, she's from way up north and stuff, like 6-7 hours from here. But she moved about a year and a half before she met me down to this end of the country, and then I met her and she moved here not too long after, within the year, and she's been here ever since. But she's even said in the time that she's been here, things have changed so much and stuff. Country Cycle Cam, no, people suck. They don't care about anyone but themselves getting somewhere quick as possible. Yeah, and you know what? I've got the kids and that, and I want to see them grow up. I guess that's it. Country Cycle Cam says a trail bike might be nice as the gravel trails there. We have trails. We have a rail to trails around here on that crushed gravel, and go to many miles. So go hundreds. Yeah. What's bad here is the distracted driving. Yep. Here's what we see all day long. Like this. I mean, this is just in whatever phone, but they're like this the whole time they're driving. And you know, they have the laws where if the cops catch them, I think it's like $300 or $400. They get so many points off their license, but it's a lot of money. I think they even talked about increasing it up to $700 for first-time offense. But my buddy, I remember when they first put it into effect, he was sitting. He thought it was okay. He was literally sitting at the lights. They weren't moving. They were sitting at the lights, and so he was like this. Cop pulled up right beside him, got out, and said, I think he got fined $300 or something. And that was years ago, wasn't recently. That's just after it took into effect. But they even have things here that there's so many distracted drivers. What they're doing is they have the trucks and the pickups driving around with unmarked pickups, and you don't even know they're the police until they're right up on top of you. And then they even have some buses. Some police sit on the back of buses, on the back of city buses, and what they do is they take their cameras and they have the cameras are looking, because nobody's looking up into a city bus to see if there's a police officer sitting, but they do have that. It's something in the last year or two they did, and what they're doing is they're filming, and that they catch somebody, boom, they've got you on film. You get it in the mail. They don't even stop you. Everything gets filmed, and then you get it in the mail. And I mean, your license, you can't renew your license unless you know, if there's no infractions. But that's what they've been doing, and it's been a good way to find a lot of people. They've even detected people going through like coffee shops or McDonald's, because you know you're sitting in, you're not really moving, but they don't care. They're trying to get people to stop doing this. But you see it all the time. I know truck driver fellas that drive, and they said, you know, up there they can see everything. Nobody can see the truck driver sitting up, but driving truck and transport, they can see everything. And they said they're driving down the road, and some guy's literally doing like 60 or 70 miles an hour like this with his head down, reading, and you know, just about driving into head-on traffic and stuff. But I don't know what it's going to take for people to stop. It's almost like you can't get in your vehicle unless like your vehicle won't start. That I don't know how they'd ever do that. They could figure an app or something that you're in your car, you can't start your car, drive if one of these things is detected. But I guess how's that going to work? Because the guy next to you, if he's got one, but I'm sure if they could figure it out, they would. Just like what's distracted driving? Flying Monkey says, I do a lot of mountain biking riding. It's good fun to get covered in mud. Oh gosh, yeah. Oh, the big fat wheels. See, I don't know what those are called, but I see a lot of them here. That the young fellas and some of the fellas my age and younger. I'm older. I'm not a young fella in any way. I'm 49 years old. I'll be 50 at the end of the year. But yeah, no, some of the younger fellas, they definitely drive those bikes. I said to my wife, what are those tires? Those really thick ones? They almost look like motorcycle tires. Those thick ones, I think, what are those tires? Like $400 or $500 each or more? but those bikes are probably thousands of dollars, I imagine. But they look more like a mountain, like a not a touring bike, but some kind of mountain bike or something. Flying Monkey says it cuts through the mud like paper, I imagine. Country Cycle Camp says passengers still need to be able to use their phones. Yes, no, I realize that. I don't know how they would ever, in a million years, Country Cycle Camp, come across the point where they could have something. It's almost like I don't know, unless I don't know how they would do it. No idea. But it is too bad. There's got to be something they can figure out. Muscle Car Appraisal. Hello, how are you? It's nice to see you. Thanks very much for coming. Let's see here. Country Cycle Camp. Fat bikes. Any tire width over 3 inches considered a fat bike. Some are up to 5 inches wide. Wow. Florida Greg says 50 years old. Laugh out loud. You're a young fella to me. Well, you know what? Hey, I'm still going. I'm not 50 yet. I'm in my 50th year. I haven't hit it yet, but this is my magic year. Let's put it this way: I was born in December of 1969, so December of this year will make me 50. So, but I'm still pushing. I've still got a few months left, but I mean, it's not over. Life doesn't end at 50. I know that. I think it's just a number, right? It's like hitting 40. It's like, oh my gosh, I felt like that when I hit 30. It didn't feel as much when I hit 40, but the 50 coming up seems to be a big one. I don't know why. 50 seems to be bugging me a little bit more. And you know what? I'm not bald, but I started shaving my head this last year. It thins out a little bit, and I didn't want that, so I just clipped her off, and off we go. Flying Monkey says hi. Country Cycle Camp says, I have a plus-size bike that has 3-inch wide tires. Headed on the ski slopes on Sunday. I'll post a video of the event at some point soon. That's awesome. Hey, Michael Murphy. Hello, Jeff. Hey, Michael. How are you, buddy? It's good to see you. I don't know. Are you in a snowstorm out your way? We had a snowstorm here. Kids got to stay home from school. They closed the buses and all the schools this morning. My wife even got a text from work. Some of the girls from work sent her a message saying they didn't close work, but they said it's a work from home day, so she was able to work on her computer from home. So that was kind of nice. But I think she's either been done for a few minutes or what, but it's 4:42. I might stay on about a few more minutes, but maybe to 10:02 or 5, but not much longer than 5 o'clock. But it certainly has been nice seeing everybody today. Flying Monkey says 50 isn't old. Oh no, I know it isn't. It just sometimes you know you get to the point and it's like, oh yeah, it's you can never go back in years. I think that's what it is. I realize when you're in your early 40s, it's like, yeah, I don't feel old quite yet, and you know, and I still don't feel old, but I think it's like the years are just, they're not dwindling down, but they're never come back. Not that they ever were, but I think it's just a number, right? And it's just maybe a way of looking at it. Flying Monkey says, I'll be 38 soon. That's not bad. You know what? I remember that. What age was I? My daughter next month will be 16, and I was 33 when she was born, and it seems like yesterday. It goes by so quick. And I was 38 when my son was born. He just turned 11. He was born on New Year's Day, January 1st of 2008. So he just turned 11. But yeah, the time goes quick, and I think I was 38. Yeah, 2008 make me. I just turned 38 years old at the time. But but 38's a good year. It really is. It is. Let's see here. Good to see everybody. Muscle Car Appraisal, Flying Monkey, Michael Murphy, Country Cycle Cam. Michael Murphy says we got 3.5 inches of snow and then a 1/4 inches ice on top of that. Yikes! Yeah, Michael Murphy. Michael, that's exactly what happened here. That's why they closed things down. We got the freezing rain and the ice and stuff, and you know the kids are in school, so they I guess just to be safe, they closed all the buses, and because there's a lot of kids that get bussed in and stuff. And they closed the schools down, which the funny thing is, all the years, you know, the kids have been going to school, only a few times in all those years they ever closed. And this year they've already closed the schools 2 or 3 times, which is incredible because it takes a lot for them to close the schools here, but they did. Muscle Car Appraisal, I like work from home days. Yeah, my wife does too, and I think this is her second one in the last year or so. So not a lot, but it's nice to have her home, and I also don't have to go pick her up today, so it's kind of nice. Give me a second. I'm just getting dry here. I just need to take a sip of water. Sorry. Walker fam. Hey, how are you, Walker fam? It's nice to see you. Thank you very much for coming. Hey guys, it's nice to have you here. Is it Chris or Georgia? It's nice to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. I came on the second time again. Literally, you know what? Sometimes the 2 o'clock, it's good for people and it's not good for everybody. So I've been coming on the last couple weeks at 4 o'clock for 30 or 40 minutes. I've been a little bit more than that today. I can go on for a tiny bit longer today. But usually I've been coming on doing a second one just for a tiny bit. You get to see some people you don't get to see every day or at the 2 o'clock because it's not a good time for them. Florida Greg 50 isn't old, but when you're old as me, then no, Florida Greg. No, you're right. It really isn't. And I find, you know what? It's funny when you get to that point. It's like, oh yeah, it definitely isn't anymore. You get to the point you're like, oh yeah, the next one's the big one. Because you're always trying to push it off. That's what I find right now. Country Cycle Cam says, yeah, we got ice. Yes, today here as well. My snow thrower had to chunk it to toss it. What a mess. Bought 100 pounds of DAPT and 100 pounds of Barmdree to treat the driveway tonight. Still sleeting. Country Cycle Cam. I'm 36. Are you really? That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, I'm Country Cycle Cam. I'm 49, and I'll be hit the big 50 at the end of the year. But like my wife's quite a bit younger than I am, so I always say she'll always say, yeah. Look at who's turning old. She's just teasing with me, but it is what it is. 100 pounds of salt. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I went out before lunch and did some shoveling. It was thick stuff today. Usually, you know, just a little bit of whatever. It doesn't take long, but today it was heavy stuff. No, it's raining. Is it? Yeah, I think it's raining here too. Earlier it was too cold to rain, so it was just coming down like ice pellets. But I think it's probably it's warmed up a bit, so it might be raining here too. I'm not 100%. I'll have to take a look after. So many young people on here. Florida Greg, that's funny. Oh, now it's raining. Okay. I feel like a fossil. No, not at all. Not at all. Florida Greg, I remember when back in my day. Yeah, no, I've started to say things that I find now that I never said in a million years, but it is what it is. Country Cycle Cam, when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. When dinosaurs roamed the earth, isn't that the truth? Gosh, I remember that. There was a show when I was a kid in, I think, the 1970s on dinosaurs, if I can remember. That's funny. That's totally funny. So, what's everybody up to today? Anybody have anything exciting going on their channel or just in life itself? We usually have a bit of excitement going on, but today we don't really have to leave the house other than maybe get out and shovel a little bit before dinner or something. Flying Monkey says, talk to you all soon. Enjoy the rest of your stream, my friend. Thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not going to be on a ton longer, but it was nice to have you here. Thanks again. You have a good one, my friend. Have a good one. Florida Greg's laughing his head off. Country Cycle Camp says, Saturday next to Moses in Algebra 1. What? Is that next? Oh, that's funny. What's wrong with me? Country Cycle Camp says, I sat next to Moses in Algebra 1. That's funny. He says, so old he still owes Jesus $2. Sorry, buddy, I'm done now. I'm full of corny jokes. You know what? My wife will say I am too sometimes. You know what's so funny? Sometimes I think I'm to the age now, I think some things are funny, and then I realize if I listen back to them, or I'll say them, and it's like, oh yeah, that was funny. I listen back, and I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? But, I mean, what are you going to do? Florida Greg is one old as me. Getting up in the morning is exciting. I'm starting to realize, you know what, waking up is a good thing. Flying Monkey says, I say that myself back in the day. Yeah, exactly, in the day. Yep, that is funny. Yep, exactly. Well, this is fun. I really enjoyed it today. I mean, I probably close it up in about a minute or so, but this was fun today. I really had a great time with everybody. I really appreciate you dropping in. Like I said, I honestly thought I might just stay on for half an hour, but you know what? Before you know it, it's you're on 50 minutes and you don't even know it. Country Cycle Camp. I've already started the dadisms. Yeah, no. Once the kids get involved, then they really tell you or show you how old you are. Son, was when I was your age. Yeah, exactly. I do it all the time. I'll get upset with them for some reason, and the worst part is I feel bad after I get upset with them. But then I realize, you know what? I remember what it was like to be a kid. It's funny. I say to my wife, you know, my dad or mom never really had to say anything. I think they put the fear of God into us. We knew, if we did this, what was going to happen, or what we thought was going to happen. Nowadays, you can say something to the kids, they almost turn and laugh at you. But, it is what it is, right? But anyways, I should get off here. I've been on for 50 minutes. I don't want to keep everybody. I've really had a good time. I really appreciate you coming on. I really do. It was fun in that today. Really had a good time. Those are great. Yeah. Oh, Frozen Fury, how you doing? I like the upside down emoji. I like it, my friend. I really do. I'm just saying goodbye to everybody. Frozen Fury. It's great to see you soon, Jeff. Been a good stream. Yeah, it was. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I'm probably gonna have to get things rolling. Everybody's gonna be having dinner here in the next half hour or so, so I should get going. But Frozen Fury, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for dropping in. Country Cycle Camp, Flying Monkey, Florida Greg. Everybody that came in, Michael Murphy, Walker Fame, Muscle Car Appraisal. Sorry, I want to say thanks to everybody. That's it. Night Shame was here. God the Good One, Salvatore, and Chinzagera. Let's see. I think Anthony Fletcher. I think that's probably I can only go so far back in the chat, so I won't keep going on in the chat. But thanks and stuff. I just got in here in time. Yeah, no, you did. Thanks a lot. Thank you, and bye all. Hope you all have a good one. Yes, Florida Greg, thanks again. It was good talking to everybody. I had a blast. I'm sorry I'm running, but Michael Murphy, awesome. Oh, Michael, hey, I appreciate you dropping in. I really do. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. I hope. Oh yes, Florida Greg, I will. Michael Murphy, I appreciate each and every one of you dropping in. I really do. This is the old man stream. I'm just kidding. Visit my channel when you get a chance. Yes, I definitely will. Thanks again, everybody. Much appreciated. I'll catch you later, and I bid you do. But thanks again. I hope you have a good evening and good night. But I will have to drop off. I have to get things ready for supper and stuff. But have a good one, everybody. Thanks again, and I'll be back tomorrow. Take care. Bye, buddy. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate it. Have a good one, buddy. I hope it's not too much rain or sleet and ice and that for you. Later, Countryside Camp. Thanks again. Take care, everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye.